float nebulously in your head for a little bit.
Yeah, and even when you're looking at it in a short term, I feel like self-reflection is so important. Like trying to figure out what the best balance is for you. Like, everyone's like, well, how do I know? Like, well, think about it. Like, look at your schedule and, like what's your mood like? What do you feel like you're missing? Like, and what, like, look at your day to day and think about, what are you spending too much time on? For me personally, I feel like, I get into these like little like zones sometimes where I'm just like spending way too much time on Twitter and I'm not really getting anything done. And I'll find myself like daily, like sitting here on my computer, all my work is up, but I have Twitter and I'm just scrolling and scrolling. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like scrolling and then I stop and then I grab my phone and then I go on Twitter and then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm literally just sitting here.
I do the same thing.
Yep,
like,
I do the same thing too.
You gotta have that clarity and be like, okay, you know what? I'm not doing work right now, so I'm not gonna pretend to do work. Let me just go relax. I'm clearly not gonna get anything done. I've worked too much for the day. Let me just take a break instead of like, pretending to work.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, pretending to work. That's a lot of what that is. Like you feel like there's a justification in your head. You're like, oh no, this is work related. It's sort of like, those moments when you're trying to find any reason to have a tax write-off. You're like, oh, this is a thing that's totally not. It's really not. Scrolling through Twitter over and over again. Yeah, there is some value there. There is like networking value. There's replying to people who are engaging with your tweets, and that's part of what you want to do as a content creator. But if you don't have that clearly defined, I'm always going to go back to vision. If you don't have your vision clearly defined and then have subsets of that, like what does that look like? What are the different modules for your vision, for your mission? And where are the distractions from those things? Like I'm not achieving this. Why not? What am I doing that's drawing me away from it? And it takes a lot of time to do it. This is not a one-day thing. You don't just sit down and do it today. You can start it today, but this is going to be a long-term thing. What's distracting me from that vision? We have to have the vision first. Then you have to spend the time self-reflecting. Like Loco, it's nice to hear other people say the same thing. I don't have to feel a personal shame that's just mine. But
it's a joint shame.
Context and perspective, and that's something that I'm also working on too, because that's a distraction from what I really want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sorry, I was just going to say that I think it's very I think it's really telling that you guys all describe these kind of things, and really how Galen and I started. We knew that when the first thing that we did on Your Brand, Your Business when we were relaunching in 2018, when we were coming up with the business hygiene theme, was that we talked about our respective business philosophies, right? And when I know Hunter's a big fan talking about vision, if you want to put it in a different word or a different phrase, rather, really as a self-employed individual or as a small business, just talk about what your business plan is for your brand, right? Your business plan's your internal thing. And then what's your mission statement for your brand? Also, that's your external thing, right? So your mission statement is, what do you want to do? Well, I want to create a community that is positive, that helps each other, that raises money for charity, whatever it is you want to do. I want to create a brand that, and your business plan might be, I want to create a brand that can help me to launch a career that's long lasting, either pivoting it into some other part of gaming or some other kind of content creation, or anything that you want to do. All of that is very important. Like you said, you need to have a vision. You need to do that. Like, is introspection a word? I don't even know if it's a word.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you need to have that to make sure that you understand what your vision is in the first place, right? So like, that's probably something you should have done from day one. If you haven't done it from day one, that's okay. You can still do it from now. And
make today your day one for that.
Exactly. Yep. So you kind of just take some time away. I know, as you guys all mentioned, it's very easy to kind of get into the zone. Like, just because Loco's right. It's just because I'm sitting in front of my desk doesn't mean I'm actually working, right? My wife always says, you're just pretending to be busy, right? So,
right. I think that's a big problem a lot of content creators have is we get into this thing where we pretend to be busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's that hygiene thing. I think that totally goes back to the first point that you brought up, being the hygiene thing and being sanitary with your distinctions between your life and your work because it blends so easily for us.
I work out of a co-working space most of the time. Like when I have video calls with clients or when we're doing a show, I come back to my home desktop because it's where I've got my nice microphone and my better camera and, you know, all that kind of thing. But I actually work out of a co-working space most of the time because it gets me away from my desk where I also play Banner Saga and Into the Breach and FTL and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's, or just we'll pop on YouTube and be like, hey, someone uploaded a video. So that really, the physical separation is something that's important for me. And it's something I didn't have at first, partially because business was new enough that I was avoiding any expense I could possibly avoid. But it does two big things. First is it separates me from home and all of my distractions and my cats meowing at me and all that kind of stuff. And then two is it gets me out around other people, which for me is really important. Sure. I've said this before on Joel and my show, but my wife used to get a little annoyed with me because she would come home from a long day of work and I was working. It wasn't like I was just goofing off, but she was like the first person I'd seen that day, essentially, because I was just working from home. And I'm someone who needs that kind of interaction a lot. And so I just start chatting her ear off. And she's like, yeah. I would love to go sit and read for like half an hour first. And so that was one of the things that I learned about myself, that I have always known about myself that I really, 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 like, if I could design my ideal day, it would basically be just talking with other people all day. Actually talking with them. So like not talking to a screen.
I like talking at them.
I like talking to, well, but you know what I mean? Like I would be terrible doing what like Philip DeFranco does with his YouTube channel, right? Where he's just talking to the screen. I need that interaction. And I knew that about myself, but didn't realize how important it was until I actually had my wife tell me that I was being annoying. And lovingly, reasonably, all these kinds of things. But like, Galen, you should get out more. Which I think is true of a lot of streamers too. You should get out more.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So that physical separation has been big for me. And then the other thing that I've tried to do, sort of what we've talked about with the vision piece, with the reflection piece, and which I tell all of my clients when it comes to the finance piece, is you have to make time for it. I have straight up told clients who have said, I'm very busy right now, that I, first of all, believe them. Like, yeah, they're probably very busy. But second, they need to either make the time to meet with me or we should stop working together, because they shouldn't be paying me to do nothing. And you know, even if I'm doing nothing because they aren't meeting with me. Or secondarily, they should make the damn time to do it if it's something that they respect. If it's something that they want to accomplish and something that they respect as a useful thing, they need to make the time to do it. And so I set up time on my calendar for myself to do my accounting each week, which is not fun. It's very boring. Yeah. And I set up time to do some sort of like business reflection-y stuff because it helps me.
Well, so this ties into something else that we wanted to talk about